All right, guys, should you be extremely fluent in one language or know many languages, right? Now, this is like a question that like most people like try to think about. It's like, should you learn very few languages to an extremely high level, or should you learn multiple languages to a conversational level, right? Because here's the thing, right? I know I basically, for me at least, like I've achieved a conversational level of fluency in French, so I'm able to basically go to France and literally understand everyone. Like anyone, like I was when I went to France last summer, like I was literally like fluent. Like I literally anything that a French person said, like I understood it by like 100%. But that's only in the conversational realm. Like my French is not near native when it comes to like literary works. Like I'm not able to read like a book in French, right? Because I just don't have the vocabulary equipped. But when it comes to daily conversation, I'm comfortable. And then for me, like English, like I'm a native speaker of English, so like that's the thing. And then for Japanese though, my Japanese is at a really high level. Like in terms of I'm able to read books that like some natives have struggled reading, right? And that's just because I just used a lot of Anki. I was really relentless in my pursuit of learning Japanese, right? So over the course of like 3 years of full dedication, like my Japanese has achieved like vocabulary higher than most natives. So those are the only languages I know though. And what I plan to do is I do plan to learn Arabic because I am Muslim, right? So if I want to understand the Quran in its original language, I have to learn Arabic. So that's going to be like another project. And the reason why I decided to talk about this is because the sacrifices I made of learning Japanese were actually like larger than I thought. Because here's the thing, right? After I learned French, right? Like French was like the first foreign language I got fluent in. And then after that, I learned Japanese. But the thing is that during the same time I learned Japanese, I could have been fluent in Spanish, Portuguese, and Italian combined. I'm gonna repeat that. In the same time frame, in the same effort I put towards learning Japanese, right, to the level I'm at right now, I could have spent that same exact time learning French, Italian, and Portuguese. So the time it took me to learn one hard language like Japanese, I could have learned 3 European languages in the same time frame, right? Because European languages are so much easier to learn, right? Because it's like I already know French and English, so learning Spanish will be a joke. And if I were to add French and Spanish and English, then learning Portuguese would be a joke. And from that altogether, learning Italian would be like a freaking joke. So like the more Romance languages you know, the easier the next one becomes, right? Because they're all overlapping in vocabulary and everything. It's like the same. It's like different languages, but it's like different languages that come from the same root, which is Latin. So, but I kind of missed that opportunity, right? I could have been like a European Giga Chad, where I could have spoke like literally 5 languages. I could have gotten that ability. I could have been the guy that could speak like 5 languages fluently, right? But no, like I decided to learn one super hard language like Japanese to a very high level, right? But now, and with that ability, I'm able to read books in Japanese, like even hard books. I'm able to basically be fluent in Japanese. I can watch anime without subtitles. Like I have my Japanese ability is pretty high, but like, I think about it, I'm like, dude, I could have spent that same amount of time learning like a bunch of different languages. You know what I mean? Like, why did I have to spend all this time in Japanese? But that's where like you do a tenbin ni kakeru, right? That's a phrase in Japanese where it's like you try to balance things out. It's like you try to put it on a scale, like which one is worth more, 3 languages to like a conversational level, like European languages, or one really hard language to a very high level. And that's why, like, for me, like, if my next language is Arabic, I'm gonna have to learn this one also to a hard level, to a high level, right? Like Arabic is also like really hard too. Like Arabic is also one of the hardest languages in the world, right? Even though Japanese I think is the hardest language in the world, Arabic and Chinese, these are hard languages. So for me to be able to master the Quran and be able to learn Arabic fluently, I'm going to really need to like invest so much time, right? And in that same time frame that I'm learning Arabic, right, I could spend that same time, once again, learning Spanish, Portuguese, and Italian combined and be conversationally fluent. Like I could achieve near native fluency in all 3 of these. In the same time, it'll take for me to master Arabic to read the Quran and the classical literature of it. Like that's like the trade, right? But I think learning one language to a high level also has a lot of benefits, right? Because when you learn languages at the highest levels, you have extremely high functionality, which means that you can basically go to school in the language. Like I can go to like a university in Japan because I have college level Japanese, so I can do it, right? So that's the benefit, right? You have more appreciation for, you have more immersion, more appreciation towards the culture, right? And you can talk about a lot of deep topics with people in that language, you know. Like if you achieve like if you achieve like, you know, only like a surface level conversational fluency with many languages, even though that is still very rewarding. Like don't get me wrong, like, you know, it'd be great to learn Spanish, Portuguese, and Italian, and be able to speak to those people, right, and go to the country and understand 100%, right, you know, and be able to talk to everyone and be able to like be completely fluent and immerse in myself like a native. Like that'll be dope. But I won't be able to read like old texts. I won't be able to read like maybe, you know, literature in the language because it'll just be like too many words to learn. But I think like me, like my duty as a Muslim, like I'm gonna have to learn Arabic though to a high level. Like not just to like a mediocre level. Like I'm not talking like learning Arabic to like a conversational level. Like I mean like learning Arabic to like an elite level, because I'm gonna have to learn how to read classical Arabic, right? Because that's what the Quran is written. The Quran is literally written in classical Arabic. So I'm gonna have to learn the Arabic of the classical literature, which most native speakers of Arabic struggle with. So I'm gonna have to reach like a level of Arabic that most native speakers of Arabic struggle to learn, right? And I have the ability, I have the confidence that I can do it, right? You know, because I learned already the hardest language ever, which is Japanese. So I know I can do it, and I'll probably be able to do it in like 2 years. Like for me to learn Egyptian Arabic, modern standard Arabic, and classical Arabic combined, if I put the same effort I did with Japanese, which is basically 8 to 6 hours a day of study, I would be able to master all three of these in 2 years. 2 years or maybe 2 years and a half, right? Now, with me to basically reach the same level of fluency in Japanese, like it's gonna take me 4 years, right? Now I'm still like I'm still like reaching that, but for you to master Japanese of all domains, you're gonna need to know like roughly like 35,000 words. For me to master all Japanese anime and all Japanese light novel literature, right? In Japanese, I'm gonna need to know 35,000 words across all domains, right? That's including all the literary terms, all the historical samurai vocabulary, all the sci-fi, all the military, all the fantasy, all the slice of life, all the, like, it's just, Japanese is a freaking mess, guys. Japanese is a mess. That's why, you know, the requirement of vocabulary for you to master, like, the literature and the language is higher than any other language, like, ever, right? And that's the annoying part about Japanese, is that you need to know 35,000 words. Not even Shakespeare English reaches that level, right? So it's like for you, so that's a lot to think about, guys. Not even Shakespeare level English reaches the level that Japanese does, right? In terms of the literature, right? So for me, like, you know, like it would have taken like 4 years to reach like that super high level of ability, but with the extreme amount of dedication that I put in. But if I use that same level of dedication and I put it into Arabic, according to like the calculations, right, of how many words I would need to learn to master, you know, all three Arabics, which would be like 20,000 words, it would take me like 2 years. So it'll take me maybe 2.5 years to master Egyptian Arabic, modern standard Arabic, and classical Arabic combined, right? For me to master all three of these Arabic, like it's gonna be that much dedication. Not as much as Japanese, but still not as easy as learning Spanish, right? Like, so that's the thing, right? But that's the thing. That's what I'm glad about. That's what I'm glad. I actually asked ChatGPT this. Like, I was like, yo. So basically, I researched about the Quranic language, like the Quranic Arabic, and it seemed like there are 20,000 words in total that you have to master and learn to be able to read, like, you know, the entire Quran and fully master it and all the nuances. And I was like, why is it not as high as Japanese? Like, why does Japanese anime require a vocabulary of 35,000 words for you to master? How come, like, why is that there? And then, but Quran Arabic only requires like 20,000, right? That's a lot less vocabulary you need to master all Arabic instead of like Japanese. So I was like kind of like trying to ask these, and it seemed like when it comes to Arabic, they don't have the breadth of genres like they do in anime in Japanese, right? And I think that's why there's so many fewer words you have to learn in Arabic than Japanese. right? That's why there's only 20,000 words in Arabic you have to master across all the dialects, across all the modern standard Arabic and classical Arabic. So for me, like, I can reach 20,000 words in Arabic in like 2 years. Like that's good. That's easy because I can just combine it with Anki, do a ton of immersion, and I'll get there. But that's kind of reassuring to know because it's like, if I had to tackle another Japanese, bro, that would have been like, yo, that would have been a mess. But it's kind of reassuring that like, no, okay, I can master Arabic Japanese in 2 years. Like I can master Arabic, like all of it, like classical Arabic, modern standard Arabic, Egyptian dialect. I can do all that, master all of it, complete fluency in 2 years. You know, but within the same dedication, it would require you 4 years of Japanese. So that's why, like, with Japanese, it's like, oh man, Japanese is like a different beast, guys. Like, that's the thing, bro. Like, I didn't realize what I was getting myself into. Because at least with Arabic, like, you don't have to learn kanji. You don't have to learn all these different symbols, right? The alphabet is simple. And it seems like the vocabulary isn't as large as Japanese. So that's reassuring. So, yeah. But that's my next language, Arabic, right? Which it'll be like a 2-year project, right? Where I'm going to be dedicating myself, like, going full in on Didin, like, learn the language. Because here's the thing, imagine if I could read, like, the classical texts of, like, the time of the Prophet, right? Like, imagine if you can read classical Arabic text, like, you know, it's just there. It's literally there, like, literally. Like, if you want to learn about Islam, like, yes, you can read the Quran, but, like, why don't you also read texts in that time era? Like, in the same time around, like, when Prophet Muhammad was alive, like, read other people's works. Like, not just, like, Prophet Muhammad's works, but also read, like, other smart people, like, you know, that wrote books in that time. And you can read, like, the texts they have there, right? Reading, like, the classical texts that they have back then and being able to understand it. Like, I want to be able to read, like, you know, 1,000, the 1,000 Arabian Nights. I want to be able to read that. I want to be able to read, like, the Adventures of Sinbad Sailor. Like, these are all written in classical Arabic. And I want to be able to read these tales and fables. Like, these would be really fun to read, you know? And it'll just really, like, provide me with the richness that, like, no other language will be able to provide. Because, like, Arabic is going to be, like, I heard that Arabic, I mean, according to the Quran, and all people think the Quran is a miracle. And in order for me to confirm this, I'm going to have to read the Quran in Arabic and understand it. Like, I'm going to have to understand every nuance of the linguistics of what's going on in the Quran for me to really fully appreciate its eye-opening beauty. Because, like, because people say, oh yeah, the Quran is a miracle. But it's like, for me, I need to see it. I need to see why. You know, so if I had to master classical Arabic and be able to read the Quran and understand everything of every sentence and nuance of the meanings of each verses and each surahs, like, I would be able to really appreciate the Quran even more. And I'd be able to even witness God's creation, God's miracle of the Quran, right? So that's why I think learning Arabic and mastering it all the way to classical Arabic is going to be vital for me to be able to reach that level, right? So yeah, guys, that's like my plan, right? My next language is definitely going to be Arabic. I don't think I'm going to learn Arabic I'm not going to learn Arabic right now because I still have to master Japanese and I have finishing touches of French because I still feel like I'm like 95% I'm like 95% mastered spoken French. I want to master spoken French like 99%. So for me, I need to still do like some finishing touches with French, which won't take long. But after I master Japanese and I'm satisfied with the ability to basically read all Japanese media, which for me, I'm going to need to learn roughly 30,000 words. So once I reach a vocabulary of 30,000 Japanese and then master French spoken language, then I'll basically go to Arabic. I'll go and tackle the Arabic project. But yeah, guys, like going deep in one language is very rewarding. You know, it's nothing comparable to learning all these different dialects. You know, I mean, all these different, like, you know, learning Spanish, Italian, Portuguese, like learning a lot of language to a low level, or I want to say it's a low level, but like, you know, it's a conversational level. Like, all of it is rewarding, but it's only going to give you like surface level connection with people. And maybe that's like, if that's what you're looking for, that's fine. But it's like, if you can, I think there's like a certain level of connection that happens when you're able to read ancient texts in a language. You know, if you're able to read literature in the language, that also unlocks a new level of connection. And if you only learn Spanish or Italian to like a conversational level, you won't really be able to read its literature, right? And part of the literature is like its culture, right? So like that's why like, you know, learning a language to a high level of fluency, which actually does not take that much more time, is actually very beneficial. Because like for me, like I'm already like relatively fluent in French, so for me to master the literature of French, it'll only take me another year. Like it'll only take me another year of dedicated study, immersion, Anki, right? For me to be able to fully master all the French literature, right? It's just gonna require an extra year, but so it's not gonna be as long as you guys think. But yeah, guys, I think learning one language to a high level is definitely valuable. And if I can learn French, Japanese, Arabic, basically gain the polyglot status, right? All to a very high level, like I would be like one of the few humans in the world that, you know, are able to achieve that. Because most people, right? Most people that can speak multiple languages, that they don't necessarily have like a high level of fluency. They're not able to read like literature in the language. But if you can like work hard to like speak multiple languages to a very high level, that's when it's like, yo, you're at like a different level, bro. So that's kind of like a plan I have to really expand my intelligence.